Hello and welcome to I Am Well podcast. I'm your host Gemma, a nutritionist and a hormonal fasting coach, passionate about self-development through a holistic lens. But my biggest mission is to help empower women and get them to reconnect and trust their bodies again. So if you're a woman who just wants to better herself and live her best life, you're listening to the right podcast. So let's get to it. Hello and welcome back to I Am Well podcast. Today is Wellness Wednesdays and I am so excited because we're going to get stuck into what I did over the holidays. I did my first ever 3-day water fast. And I just want to sit for a moment and just congratulate myself. Just here on my own, congratulating myself. But honestly, if you've done any sort of fast, anything, the longest fast you've done, you should congratulate yourself because you stayed committed and you chose to do something that benefited your health, and it was something for yourself as well. And it just proved, if you listen to my episode on Monday about strengthening your mindset, it just proved how strong you are. And it just gets like, each time I do a fast, like, we're going to get into this and how I did it and the logistics behind it and all that. But each time I get to a certain length fast, I get that motivation, that momentum. And it's kind of like an addiction. I'm like, oh, what else can I do? And I get excited. Like, I started off with 24 hour and then I went to 36 hours. Then I pushed myself to 48. And then I was like, I think I can do a 72. I'm going to give it a shot. I think it's a mental game and I think I can do it. And it was exactly right. It's the biggest mental game. That's what it is. So anyway, let's go, before we get stuck into it all, I thought I'd mention, as I have a few listeners that are in the Brisbane Gold Coast area. If you live North Brisbane, Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast, I highly recommend you come to our first ever Serenescence in-person retreat. If you don't know what Serenescence is, this is mine and Gabby, who has been on this podcast before. It's our co-collab business that we have made together. It's a holistic wellness business, mostly aimed at mums who struggle to find balance, but if any women will benefit from our courses and retreats. And we started this off because last year we did our first 2 in-person retreats together and it was a hit. You know, with Gabby has an amazing, she brings in her mindset movement, somatic movement and Pilates instructor, and she knows so much around the mind as well. She takes it to a deeper level, so subconscious blocks and all the things, because I highly recommend you listen back on our episodes that we've done together, but she's had a lot of trauma in the past, so this is where she had to learn this stuff. Well, not had to, but she took the initiative to learn it for herself to get through those times. So we created a business together called Serenescence. The reason it's called Serenescence, it's because the essence of serenity starts from within. So we've combined the word serenity and your essence and put it together as Serenescence. This is our first ever in-person retreat as our business, under our business name. And this first retreat is all to do with manifestation, visualization. We're going to be creating vision boards, trying to get you to make sure that you are starting this year off on the right foot. The reason we're doing it in Feb is because we both agree that for most women, and especially mums, because mums is kind of our target audience there, we feel like the year doesn't really fully start off until Feb. We feel like January can be a bit of a blur. You know? I think there's so much emphasis on trying to figure out what you want in 2025 by the end of 2024. And Gabby and I believe that we think January is a bit of a buffer time for you though. Like January doesn't really count. You are allowed not to have it all sorted when you're still in Jan. So that's why we've created this retreat, because we want you to make sure that you're able to stick to the goals that you want to set, but with intention. Both of our words this year is intention. We want it to be intentional. We want there to be a good enough reason why, and we want to make sure you succeed it. So come to this retreat and I promise you will be on your way to succeeding it. In-person retreat is North Brisbane. As I said, it is on, let me pull out my calendar. I should have known this off the top of my head, but kids and things, so forgive me. It is on, so it is the 8th. So it's the February the 8th. We're running it from 8:30 in the morning until 3:30 in the evening. So it is a full day event. But we need that time if you want to make sure that you're actually going to be committed to that. And so I highly recommend you come there, you commit to yourself, you put in the work, and you will succeed this year. We will make sure of it. And we're both obsessed with mindset. As I said, Gabby has a deeper knowledge, but I'll also be there guiding you throughout it as well. And I'm so excited to make the vision boards with you all. So if you live in those areas, highly recommend you come. And even if you want to stay for the night, make it a weekend, a girls' trip. Moving on, let's get stuck into 3-day water fast. So first off, my husband and I have been fasting together, and I highly recommend, if you have been listening to me and you want to try this fasting journey out for yourself, try to get an accountability partner or someone that's going to do it with you, because it's going to be that much easier and so much more fun too. It's nice to have someone that's with you for the ride. And when one person's like, I don't want to do this anymore, I can't do it, you're there to motivate them, and vice versa. So I did it with my husband. We have both been trying to do a 3-day water fast now for the past 12 months. When I first started learning about fasting just over 12 months ago, I was obsessed, and I kind of thought, I wonder if ever I will get to a 3-day water fast. And I thought I'd love to do it, but I'm just not sure. So it was my ultimate goal. I just had no idea if I'd be able to get there or not. So with any fast, any sort of fast you're doing, it doesn't matter. What you really should do first is clean up your eating window. Clean up. I feel like people think fasting is sometimes an easy way out. Like, I can eat whatever I want, but I'll just fast and I'll get these amazing effects. And yeah, look, you might, because the studies show that that does happen. But you really must be like at least metabolically switching if you can play that game. We'll get into that in another episode. But that's not the whole point of this. The whole point isn't so that then you can just binge eat when you're in your eating window. And most cases that actually doesn't work. What we need to do first is we have to clean up our eating window. We have to clean up what we're eating. Yeah, so what we have to do first is remove any ultra-processed foods as much as possible, guys, okay? Like, go back to the 80-20 rule. I think when we say this, people like freak out and like, oh, this is so hard, it's clean eating. No, this is just going to help you do the 3-day water fast to the best of your abilities. And this is where the mental game kicks in, because your brain will start thinking of all the reasons why you can't do this. So clean up your eating window, remove ultra-processed foods, remove refined sugars. Watch, if you're a mom, watch when you're like making your kids dinners and stuff like that you're not nitpicking. Like, I'm only saying this because that was a big tip for me. Like, I even realized while I was fasting, I was cooking their meals, and then all of a sudden I'd go to eat like some mashed potato and I'd be like, oh, wait a second, I'm fasting, I can't have this. Like, you just have that mindlessness sometimes. So be mindful about it. But those tips and your stress levels, really focusing on trying to calm down your stress levels leading up to it, they are going to make your life so much easier. If you want to do a 3-day water fast, okay, because I'm talking about 3 days, I know this can be full on, but remember, it's a mindset game. That's all it is. It's a bloody mindset game. So I know some people that have started off with 3-day water fast and haven't done anything else before, and they've just gone and they've done it because their mindset was strong. I promise you, it's a mindset game. Now, I know there are, if you have pre-existing conditions, any autoimmune diseases or anything that's going on, you should always check with your doctor first. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a dietitian. So I just want to make that clear. You do need to play it safe. However, I am a certified Fast Like a Girl coach, so I do have certifications in helping you through this and creating a fasting lifestyle to do this, or helping you through a big fast like this, because there are tools that you can use to make sure you're playing it safe. And I know heaps of people that don't even follow these tools and they do it. So just know it's a huge mental game. So how did we start? I guess my husband and I, that's what we did leading up. We just tried to eat clean as possible. I made sure that we had the least amount of sugar leading up to it, so that it just made the fast easier. And then I also prepped some fasted snacks. Okay, this is a big one. Everyone gets so surprised when I say fasted snacks. They're like, but you're doing a 3-day water fast where you don't eat. How can you have snacks? Well, this is where the science comes in, okay? So when you go into a fasted state, if you've heard a couple of my episodes before, you would have heard me talk about autophagy. Autophagy is where your cells start to eat the glucose within themselves and start to clean up all the dead cells, cancer cells, and it really helps your immunity. It's really like a good cell cleanse. You hit autophagy at about 17 hours of like no eating. That autophagy process, so the more your cells start cleaning up everything, that gets stronger and stronger the more you don't eat. When you have a fasted snack, and a fasted snack is like having a fat, just plain fat, so like half an avocado, a tablespoon of almond butter, some nuts or seeds, that is like a fasted snack because it's just pure fat. So when you have those, technically you're probably breaking autophagy. So it means those cells aren't doing that anymore. But you're still in a fasted state. This means you're still in what we call ketosis, in the fat burning state. So in order for your body to produce energy, it has to burn fat. And remember, your brain uses 50% ketones. So your body's producing ketones to help ignite your brain. So you think clearer in this time, you get more energy, and you burn fat, and it feels incredible. But people get confused because they think, but if you have like tablespoon of almond butter, doesn't that mean it breaks your fast? And no, it doesn't break your fast, but it probably will stop you from getting the effects of autophagy. So that is the most confusing, I guess, aspect of it, but hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, go back over it again or join my program Balance and I'll help guide you through it. Okay, so the first day for us was pretty easy. My husband and I have done that many 24-hour fasts now. They're the easiest to do. I also want to remind you, if you're a cycling woman, meaning you have a regular menstrual cycle, it is best to do these fasts from day one, which is day one when you first bleed, up till day 10 of your cycle. And the other time that you get to have is that little window of opportunity from day 16 to day 19. Now, I don't recommend doing a 3-day water fast from day 16 to 19 because you have to know your cycle really, really well. Just in case you're like ovulating or trying to build up testosterone there, and you could be at the wrong point of your cycle. So it's better to play it safe in the days 1 to 10. If I'm being honest though with you all, I actually did my 3-day water fast in that window of opportunity. So listen to what I say, don't do what I do. Only because I know my cycle, my cycle is so spot on. It's insane. I am like one of those weird I guess not weird, but I'm like the average thing that you always hear. You know, like how they always say 28-day cycle. My cycle always comes 28 days. It's 28, 27. I've sometimes had 29, but usually it's 28. Like I am like that standard cycle that you hear. And I always ovulate. I'll ovulate on different days because no one ever ovulates on the same day, but it will always be within the days 11 to day 15. So I have all the tools that I give out to all my clients, like the cycle tracking. I track my basal level temp. I put down the symptoms. I literally note my discharge, like everything I do to a T because I teach this. So I know my cycle back to front. So that's why I was confident enough to do a 3-day water fast there. Okay, so I'm just saying that, but I'm like, don't do as I do unless you literally track it and know it just as well as I do. So then the first day, we did the 24-hour fast. Everything was fine. All I did was I had minerals in the morning. I had minerals at night. I started making some fasted snacks that day. So there's these like great crackers that you can make thanks to Dr. Mindy Pelz's book. I've also got a book of my own, my ebook, got heaps of fasted snacks and stuff in there. I made some and just had them just in case. And luckily I did. The second day was my hardest day. And I have heard that before. The second day is the hardest day. And I've gotten to 42 hours before, but I've never done longer. Like my husband got to 48 last time. I only got to 42 because I checked my blood glucose levels and they were a bit low. And so I thought, I better pull out. And that's where my mindset came in, my fear came in. Because the thing is, if you are doing these long fasts, it is recommended that you check your sugar levels with you can get the glucose monitors. You can either get a continuous glucose monitor or you can get the one where you like prick your finger and use the tab. Diabetics use it, but you can purchase it if you're not a diabetic. I get mine online through a pharmacy. And I was testing my levels that time and I freaked out because you want them to stay at least, you don't want them going lower than 2.8. And mine did drop to 2.6 at about 42 hours last time. So then I freaked out and I broke my fast early. I felt okay, but I freaked out because the fear seeps in. Like, what if this is bad? What if something happens? So that's what happened last time. This time around, the same thing happened. I was so good. I kept up with all my minerals. I had 2 of my LMNT sachets a day. So the LMNT sachets, they have sodium, magnesium, potassium in there because you will lose that the most when you're fasting. Your mitochondria just depletes your minerals. So you do need to have mineral intake. So I had those sachets consistently and I made sure I was drinking lots. And even I prepped when I knew, because I knew last time I struggled at 42 hours. So this time around I prepped for it. I knew at 42 hours we were going to struggle. So I prepared myself. And that morning, as soon as I woke up, I actually had a fasted snack, checked my levels, and they were at 3.5. So I was like, cool, we're sweet, we're all good. Later that day, they did drop. They dropped to 2.6 again. Now, I didn't freak out this time. I was like, no, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a fasted snack. I had it's so yum, just a sparkling water drink with some lime and ginger. And then I had one of my fasted crackers and ate those and drank that and checked my levels, and I went back up to a 3.5. Technically, if you learn any of this, that means that I've been pulled out of the fasted state, because it says if your blood glucose levels go higher than 0.5 millimoles per litre, then I should have broken my fast. But I checked my ketone levels and my ketones were still good. So my ketones were sitting at around 2.6 or something, which is quite high. usually like we don't start producing ketones until we fast, and we don't even get to ketosis. When you hit ketosis, that's the proper fat burning state. You don't usually hit there until 0.5. So my ketones were sitting at a 2.6. Hopefully this is not going over all your heads. But what I'm trying to say is checking your levels is vital, okay? At the end of the day, I'm probably going too deep into this, but at the end of the day, it's vital. And also, I just want to reiterate how much of a mental game this is. That second day, I thought, yeah, I'm going to have to break it. But I then remembered my training. I remembered how my body works. It's different to everyone else's. This is why tracking is key. Get to know your body before you do any sort of fast like this. Get to understand how it works and what happens, and try the other fast and get to know what happens with your glucose levels. It's going to help make sense. That's what helps me, because when your glucose levels get really low, you can start to feel really sweaty or tired, lethargic. And if you check your levels and you see they're quite low, lower than they're even supposed to be, at least it's like a reassurance, because you're like, oh, well, that makes sense why I'm feeling this way. Whereas if you weren't checking your levels and you're doing these fasts and everyone tells you you're supposed to be producing ketones and ketones are supposed to be making you feel amazing, well, then you're like, well, why am I feeling like crap right now? So when you test, it makes everything clear, and it just is that peace of mind. So hopefully this makes sense to you. If not, once again, join me in Balance or work with me one-to-one, and I can help guide you through this. So then once I got over that hurdle, I was feeling bloody amazing. I cannot begin to describe how good I was feeling once I got over that hurdle. And this is the thing, like I was taught this, but I hadn't really like fully felt it. When you're doing like a 3-day fast, you go through different levels. It's like a game. Like you get to level 1 and you're like, oh, I'm really hungry. I don't think I can do this. And it's because your body's still transitioning over to ketosis, like a higher version of ketosis each time. It's like level 1 ketosis, level 2 ketosis, level 3. And each time it switches over, it's a bit of a struggle. So that's where the mental game happens. So you're like, oh, I can't do this. That's where I use like a fasted snack, check my levels, get myself through it. I listen to my body, feel what my body wants. Maybe it wants me to just rest. Maybe it wants, just some time out, some peace, go for a walk. Maybe it needs some dopamine. You figure that out, you listen to your body. That's where the reconnection to your body comes in. Listen to your body, feel what it needs in the moment. Don't listen to your head. Your head's going to be saying, I need food, I need food, I need food. Listen to your body. And then you break through that, ketones get produced. You've just upgraded to another level and you feel amazing. The energy, I can't even begin to describe the energy I was feeling. My mind was so clear. I was on a webinar and this is the part, like I had just gotten over the 42 hours, that hurdle. I was coming up to like around 50 to 60 hours, I think. And I was on this webinar and they did like a brain teaser test. And no, it wasn't a brain teaser test. It was, what's that game called? Like Hangman, but it used to be the game show where it was like Wheel of Fortune. And there was like a phrase there and they had missing words. And the first person to figure out the phrase would have to write what the phrase was in the chat on the Zoom. And that would be like, you entering what you think it is, you guessing. I was out of 30 people, I was the quickest one to put it in. And everyone was like, how did you do that? And how did you go so fast? I literally just read the phrase. And I swear to God, it was the ketones. I swear to God. The next day, once I hit the 72 hours and I slowly started to break the fast, and I'll tell you how I broke it, I did a similar test. It was like a math test, online on the webinar. And I freaked out, second guessed myself, couldn't do it. And I actually couldn't even guess to begin with. And it was just like, I just wonder, is that because I'd broken the fast, I'd broken that ketone streak? It felt incredible. So I highly recommend, guys, like if you're spiritual and you want to feel your body on another level, these fasts will do that. And now I'll go into a little bit too on what the fast actually does, other than just the reconnection and the spiritual effects. But it also, at 72 hours, your body is producing stem cells throughout the whole body, meaning it is repairing everything. Like if you've got joint pain, if you've got muscular pain, like it heals and you feel it like a bit tingly in areas, and it just feels incredible. I cannot recommend enough. So if you want to know how I then broke the fast, once we came up to the 72 hours, the 3-day mark, my husband and I both prepped a bone broth. So I had bone broth first, and that was so yum. Just sitting there sipping on bone broth. Like I was like, yeah, this is nice. I wasn't, by the way, you just lose hunger. It is crazy. Like I could have gone longer, but I was like, no, that's not my plan. I plan to do 3 days. So maybe next time I'll go longer. But plus I was only in that window of opportunity in my cycle, so I didn't want to mess with it. So yeah, I broke it with a bone broth. And the reason why bone broth is good is because it's mostly fat. It's mostly fat. So you're still kind of in ketosis, but it's got the protein in it. So it technically is most likely that it will break your fast, but it'll do it in a very slow, gentle pace, and it will help repair your stomach lining, because this is key. When you want to start introducing food, the best thing is to be strategic about it and be like, okay, I'm going to work on my gut here. My gut has had a full cleanse. My gut has had a full restart. So we don't want to start off with refined ultra processed food or carbs or whatever. We want to go in with something that's going to help repair it. So bone broth is great, starting off with that nice fat. And then we go, this doesn't matter how long you wait between each. It's completely personal and you'll have to decide for yourself, but you kind of wait and see how each one feels. I had the bone broth, I felt good. So then I moved on to the next thing. So next thing after that was you want to add some probiotics. Probiotics are like the seeds to your gut. They will help grow new bacteria, because during these detox phases, you're getting rid of the bad bacteria, but you possibly got rid of some good bacteria while you're at it. So putting in some good bacteria and some diverse bacteria in there is great. So I had kimchi. I had kimchi with avocado. So I had avocado and kimchi, mixed it up and sprinkled some sea salt on there. And that was yum in itself. That was like a meal in itself. It was so yum. And then I was on this webinar, so I had probably an hour and a half, and then we broke for lunch. And when we broke for lunch, I made some steamed veggies. I made a platter of steamed veggies, added my leftover fasted crackers, and sprinkled some sea salt on that too. And I ate that, and it was so good. It was so yum. And I think I'm pretty sure I put some more kimchi and stuff on there. And then I didn't eat protein until later on. So I was back on the webinar, and then my husband got home and he cooked some protein. So he cooked some chicken breast and he cooked some eggs. So then he brought those to me, and I wasn't starving, but I was like, I know, I want to finish this off good. So I had some protein at the end, and that is the perfect way to break a fast. It's better to ease into it like that. Breaking your fast after having such a long fast and breaking it with a really big, heavy meal can actually make you feel quite sick and lethargic and just ruin it for you. It won't do any harm, but it doesn't feel good after. And you want to feel good after doing such a big fast like that. So yeah, that was my 3-day water fast in a nutshell, guys. At the end, how I'm feeling now, how my partner and I are both feeling, we are feeling, I felt really calm after. I feel really clear-minded. And as I said, I feel mentally strong, mentally capable to be okay, what's next? I got through that and I thought that was impossible a year ago. What could I do next? It's just such a cool mental thing. And the thoughts, when you sit with your body and you hear the thoughts that come up during this time, you're not good enough, you shouldn't do this, you're going to ruin your body, all of those thoughts, it's like you can finally see, when everyone talks about the subconscious blocks or thoughts that come through, that is your brain trying to save you, protect you. You kind of think of it as yourself, but like when you're in this fasted state, it's like you can see and hear those thoughts as if they're not your own. And it's like you're actually talking to another part of you. And as I said, just incredible. Ketones felt amazing. My partner, not that it was, we had nothing, we did not want to do this to lose weight, but my partner is literally over the moon now because he's lost like a pant size down, like he's lost weight around his stomach, pretty much all over really. And it's given him motivation now that he's like, I don't want processed foods. Like we keep going back to clean, healthy foods, getting fresh quality foods and stuff like that, because that's all we crave now. This is what it does. It does this huge like reset of everything. And I said to Shane, my husband, I said, this is why I love it, because it helps people first see the effects, get the motivation, and then it makes them want to keep going. That's what I love about it. So if you want to learn more about fasting, if you want to try this for yourself, I highly recommend giving it a go. If you do give it a go, any sort of fast, let me know. I always love hearing your journey, and I hope this helps. But otherwise, get in touch with me. We do a lot of fasting work in Balance. That's not to say you have to fast. It's the only way, but it is also obviously one of my main tools, and there's just so many benefits. Obviously you can tell how passionate about it I am. So that's why. I've also got 1-to-1. So don't forget that I'm taking on 2 clients in Feb, 1-to-1. If you want to be one of those clients, don't miss out. Let's get this show on the road, guys. Let's get you focusing on your health this year. I literally just saw a post not long ago of someone saying how you see the most successful people out there, the people that attract the most in their business, that do so well, are always the people that are really dedicated to their health and wellness and fitness. And you just see they take care of themselves. And that's the thing. It's like once you take care of yourself, then you're able to be better equipped in your business. You have a better energy to interact with other people. You get to know your body more, and you become more confident in your body, that you're just on this other level. So if you want to be on that other level, get in touch with me, and let's make 2025 your year, people. Okay? But yeah, that was my 3-day water fast in a nutshell. Thank you for listening. If you liked this podcast episode, please leave me a rating or a review. It means the world to me. Otherwise, just get in touch. Let me know if you have any ideas and you want to hear about anything else that I am passionate about, any of the other topics, and you're curious, you want to hear more. You can also message me and give me some tips on what else to talk about. But otherwise, I will talk to you all in the next episode. Thanks, guys.